If you've never listened to Plant Talk Radio, our weekly gardening program hosted by Fred Hauer, you really should take a listen to the whole show. You can go to our website at planttalkradio.com and listen, or subscribe to the show on iTunes. Here's today's question.
I guess it's the weather and the way things go and the humidity, but you wanted to talk about powdery mildew.
Yes, Mark. This is the third year, now not consecutively, but it's the third year that I have seen powdery mildew on serviceberry and a few other plants so very bad that it's just causing the foliage to ripple, literally ripple, and then turn brown and hang on the plant. The hanging on part is, it's a darn nuisance to the visual in the first place. And then if enough of them hang on, it indicates that what is called the abscission layer is not forming under the petiole or stem of that little leaf. And this can indicate some serious damage to the plant. In most cases, and it has nothing to do with powdery mildew, but in most cases, if a plant defoliates for whatever reason, and at an unusual time, and the leaves turn brown and fall off, I consider that a warning that there is some problem, insect or disease, but not to be as worried as if all of the foliage just hangs on the plant. Now, as to what to do, again, you have to use a preventive process. Powdery mildew is a fungal body that gets extremely prolific. Any individual spores land on the upper and lower surfaces of the leaves, and then I think it's just as little as the humidity at night. Maybe dew settles on the plant, and most of the dew settles on the grass and causes fungal diseases in the grass. But in any event, we have had dry-ish for the last month now, and still apparently enough humidity to drive the plant's nuts. Now, not all service berries, and as I've been able to look around, those that are in an area of still air movement, not many breezes, you wouldn't hang a wind chime in that area type of thing, so because it won't make a beautiful sound from the wind moving. So I think it's a bit of a site situation, but then the trees trees and shrubs that are bothered by it are going to be in trouble if you haven't put on a preventive. So count from this point backwards to at least July 1 and maybe late June for the first application of a preventive fungicide, and then just hope for the best. And then the odds are, when you're fighting something like that, and it requires a crystal ball because we don't know what's going to happen in the future, and that's just as well sometimes, but it is a case of getting a preventive material on and therefore spray up under the leaves and down on top. Early morning is always the time to do that. If you are watering your site, either automatically through a system or individual sprinklers, do use them in the morning. Now, you don't have to be up at 4, although that would not be a bad idea, even to the extent of turning on the sprinklers and going back to bed. Mark is an early bird. I am not, and I get my best sleep in the morning after he's long up and at the office. But so be it. That is just that time of year where some of these things show up. It's too late, but I've mentioned in the past the garden calendar. I don't care what year it's from, even the year of your birth, if that's what you want to do. But mark down the period of time in various increments where you know to think back to a given control measure or whatever. And then along those same lines, I saw some hawthorn trees that are not too far from some big old junipers, and I mean big, and they're co-hosting a disease called cedar hawthorn rust. And I think literally on one of the 3 trees, I'm comfortable in saying that every fruit on the tree and some stem tips have tentacles sticking out of a more or less white cocoon-looking thing. The fruit is inside of it. Sometimes you can even see the petals on the fruit, but the fungal bodies have matured. They're sticking out, and then as soon as there's a rain, those spores go back to the juniper. The juniper matures them and sends them right on back to the hawthorn. So you can't always win, but you can try to keep up.